Hey, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. Today, we are going to show you how to install H&R 13mm wheel spacers on a BMW F30 335. Now, it's a bit sunny over there, kind of washes out the camera. So let's start her up and move her into a shaded area. Installation is going to be pretty straightforward, pretty easy. So if you haven't really done too many modifications, you're nervous, this is a really good place to start if this is something that you're into. To do this, you're obviously going to need a jack. You're going to need a jack stand to make sure that you're safe. And then I also like to use this electric impact gun. And then I have a torque stick, which is limiting the torque to 100 foot-pound. Then I have a 17mm socket with a protective sleeve that's not going to damage my rim. So the wheel spacers that we are installing today are from H&R. And they are these right here, the Track Plus. One of the cool things about these is these are hub-centric. So this is something that you really need for your BMW. You need this little lip right here. So what this is going to do is it's going to give you a place for your wheel to actually sit on your hub as you're mounting it, especially if you're using the factory bolts that came on the car. Now, if you're installing the H&R wheel spacers, they do not come with extended bolts. There's two options for that. So first, you can either get extended wheel studs, no problem. I have a link in the description for the right ones for the 13mm, or you can go the route that we did, and we actually did a wheel stud conversion, so you don't have to use those bolts. You can actually have wheel stud with typical lug nuts. Now, it really comes down to personal preference what option you decide to go with. Because these are wider than putting a stock wheel on, you have less threads to grab, so it's less safe. So you want to make sure that you get the correct size. Now, as you see on the box, there's a bunch of different spacers that you can get. You can get the traditional wheel spacers, which are just a disc that doesn't have the portion for the hub right here. You'll have the hub-centric ones like I have here, and then you'll have some with wheel bolts. Typically the ones with wheel bolts are huge, and I know because I used to have them on an old car, but we're not going to talk about that because that was a long time ago. Now, as far as sizing is concerned, people run on the F30s typically like 10 to 13. Some people run 15, but you might have to roll your fenders. Now, on the rear of the vehicle, most people go from about a 12 to, normally it's 12 to 15. Some people go 18, some people put 20s, but if you do that, you're gonna have to roll your fenders. So just keep that in mind as you're looking for it. That's why I went with the 13. It's a happy medium between the front and the back. Keeps it even, keeps it the same. And I think it's gonna look really nice. So let's go ahead and start installing. Right now, my car is properly jacked up and supported with jack stands. We're going to remove the wheel now. Set this out of the way. Now, if your hub and rotor look disgusting like mine do, what you want to do is you want to either take some kind of Dremel and clean it up, or just some sandpaper, just to make sure that everything's going to slide on and be easily removed when that time comes. Now, once you have it cleaned up enough, what you can do is just slide that right on, then we can bolt up our wheel. All right, once your lug nuts are hand threaded on, you can go back with an impact gun or whatever you have, maybe just a torque wrench. And what you want to do is you want to torque them down to 104 foot-pound torque. And remember, whenever you're using power tools, it's always a good idea to go back anyway with the manual torque wrench and make sure you do it right. All right, at this point, this wheel is done. Let's lower the car and check out how it looks. All right, now in the back, you can see that the fender is pretty well lined up with the rim and the edge of the tire, which is nice, and they're not sticking out so far, so I'm really glad that I went with the 13s. Here's a shot of the stock, so there's, you know, a 13mm gap essentially. This one is definitely sunken in a little bit, and the other one just sits nice and flush. Now, because the other three wheels are the exact same process, I'm just going to fast forward to the end result of the front wheel. All right, so right now we have the driver's side completed. The back is pretty flush. The front with the 13s, it's kind of hard to tell. What makes it a little bit difficult to tell on my car is whoever had this car before me they rolled the fenders a little bit. They're not rolled flat, but they did more of a pull. It's one of those things that's pretty subtle, so unless I point it out to someone, nobody ever really notices. So right now, I think everything looks pretty good. It definitely pokes out a little bit more in the front than it does the rear, but that's okay by me because the tires that came on the car were a little bit narrow, so I want to put some wider tires on there. So hopefully with that, it can kind of even it out, because I think where the rim sits, the rim's pretty flush, but this tire is definitely wider than my rear tires. Now, something to note is 13s fit pretty good on this car, but for your car, it may be different because if you have a different rim setup, if you have a different tire setup. What I like about this is it doesn't look like it's really going to rub. Even my front tire, because of how it sticks out, this is pulled out a little bit, so I don't see any issues with it rubbing. But I'll drive around for a while, and if I have any issues or anything, I'll make sure to make a video on it. Again, this is Brian. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you are interested in the tools or the products that we used in today's video, we will be sure to provide links in the description below. As always, be sure to give us a like, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're notified on the newest, latest, and greatest videos. And be sure to check out kiesmotorsports.com for all your BMW performance and retrofit needs. Check out our Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.